Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of The Sports Insight with your host Alamdar Khan, and what we're discussing in this special transmission is Pakistan versus New Zealand. Yes, it's going to be the third T20 match today, and we're hoping for, I don't know, maybe New Zealand will be hoping for a clean sweep, I don't know, but we'll definitely be trying our level best to make sure that, we win this match, because if Pakistan manages to win this time, obviously, then there's a test match underway that's going to come after this, and the motivation level may go high. What would be the change in the team? There's so many questions right now, and to discuss all of this perspective of where did we go wrong, whether it was a batting side, bowling side, every way we need to come up to a conclusion of how can we work as a solid team. For this, we have with us our guest, who is definitely a very high sports expert, Ms. Abbas. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am good too. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So, Abbas, as we were discussing right now, even before we started the show, where do you see the team heading? What does it currently lack? It's kind of tricky situation for the team right now.
Alamdar, if you just watch out the Pakistan, especially the two T20 matches, which we have lost, unfortunately, I would say it was off. It was obviously again, because when the Pakistan team were actually traveling to New Zealand, and many of them, even I had a high expectations that they would perform well in that kind of conditions, but. Even our general public, I would say, because we are a cricket-loving nation, we just get emotionally, I would say. But we just need to understand one thing, that this is a new team. You have got many youngsters and just 2 to 3 senior campaigners with you. Hafiz Bhai did perform well in the last T20 match, I would say. But it was actually, like I was discussing with you off air, your bowling was your batting was the real problem. For what? You remember in the first T20 match, Pakistan scored, I think, so 153 runs, and when Pakistan.
But that was done as a team.
That was done as a team, remember?
Yes.
But the real problem, again, I would say, it was a team effort. The opening department is the main problem for you. It hasn't been accelerating for you. You have made many changes over here. You got Rizwan to open up, and I'll tell you one thing. The history of Pakistan, especially the T20 team, I would say, hasn't been very good as a wicketkeeper opening batsman. You haven't got that perfect batsman what it could be. Yes, I know many of them argue with me, Kamran Akmal was a good choice for you, but unfortunately he isn't in the team right now. You got Rizwan opening up the innings over here. If you just go by his track record, if you're comparing his opening to the domestic, what he has performed over here for the Peshawar team, it was, you need to understand one thing, that this is a domestic match. Yes, he captained well, he led the team well, he opened up the innings well, but this is a different atmosphere. You're playing against New Zealand conditions where you have got bounce, you have got pace. And if you just watch it in the first...
And not only that, if you remember, the conditions that the team was sent to New Zealand in, right? Having the COVID situation all across the world, and then them not being allowed to play. Yes. So even, practice. So that did let them down to a point, but then coming to a point of losing Babar Azam with the fracture and, the leadership. Instantaneously, how I see it now, on the first match, I kept more of a benefit of doubt. I thought, all right, it was bouncy. We have issues with our batting lineup. We can't be consistent. I remember I was going through Ramiz Raja's this review, and he said we have to go on a very offensive way when it comes to New Zealand and when it comes to bouncy pitches. Right now, even in the second match, if you see, I think Hafiz did a phenomenal job. I think his sense of responsibility, one could easily see.
I remember one thing. I'm sorry for interrupting. Sure. I remember because Mohammad Hafiz has been a good contender against New Zealand. Whenever you see his track record, he has played superbly well, I would say. Remember when Pakistan, I was just speaking to you off air, I think so the people even won't agree with me, or they might get angry on me. But one thing, I need to tell everyone, it's that I was happy that Babar Azam, he is injured. You know why? Because the other players, the team, they would now know the responsibility, what role they had to play over here. See, they are totally exposed over here.
Right.
I always say one thing, that Babar Azam, Smith, you got Kane Williamson for New Zealand, you got Virat Kohli for India. The team depends 90% on them. If they perform, the other ones, they come into the knock over here. So you just saw Babar Azam not in the team was totally exposed over here. Secondly, it's a backup plan. Again, I would say what backup plan means is that the Pakistan has always not been focusing on the future. They just focus on the series to series, the cricket board especially, I would say. See, you had an opener, Fakhar Zaman with Babar Azam. Fakhar Zaman wasn't well, so he backed out of the tour. I mean, he wasn't carried over there. That means you never ever prepared a second command opener for you. Fakhar Zaman isn't there, even Babar Azam isn't there. You have a mind that this guy's going to be opening up the innings. Over here, if you just watch out, he's a brilliant player, I would say. Abdullah Shafiq, a youngster with Rizwan. But he hasn't played a lot of, I would say, the Qaid-e-Azam Trophy matches over here in
probably
Pakistan.
It's the sometimes when it comes to the openers, bringing too much burden on the shoulders of youngsters to open it. And for once and for twice, if this wasn't, I mean, like, I personally feel kind of sad for them because they're new, they want to do, and definitely, and who doesn't want to do? But it's like a pressure on them, and it's a trickle-down effect.
Alamdar, I'll tell you one thing. I mean, see, it's a fact that if you want to play for Pakistan, you need to at least play 2 to 3 years of domestic matches. I mean, get yourself grinded, get yourself under scrutiny.
Absolutely.
Know how to come out of the pressure situation over here. I know the pitches over here, Pakistan, are not the same compared to New Zealand because New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, England, I don't say that, but these nations have been a tough season for any Asian team touring over there. Yes. Pakistan, remember why we haven't won a single match in Australia? It's because of the bouncy conditions over there.
So and as I was even discussing bouncy conditions, when it comes to like in 2018, if you remember, this is exactly what we were talking about. 3-0, Pakistan won against New Zealand, and obviously there is a totally different track. There is a totally different pitch there. But here, the most difficult part for Asian teams is to face bouncy pitches. And I think for that, I was speaking to Salman Bhatt the other day, and he said, we need to have more of the experience with regards to test cricket. Yeah, it slowly and gradually would define the values and how one can actually establish himself as maybe a batsman or even a bowler, because the field, the environment, the energy level, everything is different.
One more thing I'll tell you, I mean, the pitches in New Zealand, I mean, the last team which travelled in 2018, I mean, when we played over there, I mean, that team was actually comparing of the senior campaigners. You had Afridi, you had Ahmed Shahzad. I know Ahmed Shahzad isn't a senior campaigner. I mean, he has spoiled us up his innings. I would say you had this different Pakistan team. Yeah. This is a total Pakistan different team. Absolutely. And secondly, Alamdar, I would quote you. I mean, the line what you said, it was a brilliant one. That the real thing what we heard was that not getting many practice matches in the New Zealand conditions. I mean, because see, I've gone through bubble and I know what a player or what a staff goes through that. I mean, because you can't just move around easily. You can't actually. If you're a teammate, you can't even meet your teammate. I mean, you need to be in one single room. I mean, it just gets sick.
Even the other day, I was going through before the matches. We were going through and reviewing all the. I remember Mushtaq Ahmed said very clearly, it's not just going to be a physical test for them. It is actually going to be a mental test for them. Yeah. Why? Because staying inside the rooms and in isolation actually makes. Obviously for everybody, I mean, I know people, I know sportsmen, I know athletes, I know even like family members who've like been through the 14 days quarantine, and it's not easy. It depletes the energy level of anybody. So I think overall the situation scenarios and the conditions have been very tough on Pakistan cricket team in this whole scenario.
It has been, I mean, and again I would say, I mean, okay fine, you lost the 2 T20 matches, I mean, it's the third T20 coming up in Napier. And it's an important one again for you, I mean, because you need to actually save your respect over here, because absolutely. I mean, everyone's behind you. They have been backing up. I mean, I hope so there's some changes in the Pakistan team. And this wicket again, I would say it's not going to be an easy task for Pakistan. Yes, Napier wicket gets slow as it passes on, the day passes on, but it's not a test match, it's a T20 match. Yes. And again, I mean, one thing was really good again, that you got the crowd back in the stadiums. Yeah. And even that creates a pressure too, I would say. You know why? Because many of the cricketers like Abdullah Shafiq, I would say, hasn't played PSL. I mean, he hasn't gone through this kind of pressure situation where you have the crowd, where you have everything going on.
Right.
So, I mean, again, the expectations are high from these youngsters, but it's that they need to come to the party, especially Haider Ali, because he's one of the keen contender. One problem what we have, I would say the Pakistan, especially the people of Pakistan, even we start comparing Haider Ali with the greats of like Babar Azam. I mean, you need to really understand that.
Right.
Now you just go through the Pakistan team performance, the 2 T20 matches performance. Where is it? I mean, you're really missing Babar Azam over here, because we know what Babar Azam was to the Pakistan team.
The capability of Babar Azam. And like I said, sometimes it has to come up to a point of making them realize that, you have to be a team.
The team,
it's basically a teamwork because you can easily see from the body language of the players. Let's talk about, for instance, on the bowling side. We know the amount of the capabilities that we have even as a bowling team on the bowling side. But there have been upsets. There have been even in the last match, if you remember, the initial bowling started, but maybe like 2-3 overs, there was a slight bit of pressure, and then when the pressure was on, they let go of it. And they were like, the body language instantaneously changed. If we talk about the first match, when initial bowling started and the pressure was on and the fall of wicket began for New Zealand, I still remember, and I was like, instantaneously there was a point when the bowling spell was changed over, as we were discussing. Wahab Riaz came in with the body language. Once a few boundaries, automatically I saw the entire confidence level of the team under pressure.
I'll tell you one thing. I mean, why we won the Champions Trophy? You remember just one match against India was a bad for you. You came back strong as a team, gelled up unit. I mean, the senior campaigners with the youngsters. That's what we need to see over here.
True.
In the first T20 match, start from that. I remember Pakistan scored, and that was a good fighting total. I remember you were 23 or 24 for 4 or 5 down, and Shahid Khan comes in, Fahim Ashraf. I was the one, I would say that I used to criticize Fahim Ashraf for his batting. I mean, because he's actually in the Pakistan team as a genuine all-rounder, what everyone wants him, the Abdul Razak or Azhar Mahmood and all that. He performed really well. I mean, on that day, Pakistan totaled up, I think, so 153 runs, and they were still, I would say, 20-25.
It was as a team, and it was as a team. Coming back from the crippling effect, it was as a team.
It was a team.
Yes, absolutely.
The bowling, actually, I remember, it was the New Zealand versus Pakistan is pace versus pace. I mean, even Waqar Yunus even had a statement, Waqar Bhai, and even the New Zealand coach, if I'm not, the captain of New Zealand had a statement that even we have got pace attack, even they have got paces with them. It's 140, 145, 150 clicks. Right. Haris Rauf, I remember in the last T20 match was 150 clicks. I mean, that's a quick, fast bowler. But it was lack of confidence, especially even your fielding wasn't up to that mark, I would say. Because I was discussing with you off-air, I mean, that Wahab Riaz again, that catch on the square leg, I would say that dropped off. I know it, the 30 runs of Mitchell.
The morale instantaneously goes down. But in these conditions, in these tough times, I think, like I said, it's going to be a team effort. And like you said, back in the times, it has to be a mix and match of the seniors and the juniors.
It's again, I would say, the team management, I mean, right now in the last T20 match, I mean, they need to really actually sit together with the youngsters. I mean, it's not that they're not a school student, I would say, that you need to say,
absolutely.
You need to sit with them, you need to actually tell them what to do.
Anyways, the discussion will definitely continue. We'll take a short break and be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is Alamdar Khan at Sports Insight, and we're talking about the current match, the current T20 international match that's going to be in Napier, Pakistan versus New Zealand. So yes, as we were discussing with regards to changes. Let's talk about changes. Let's see, can we get to a point of seeing any positive results if we have any change in the team? Yeah, I mean,
obviously, if it was a winning side, I would say that could have been a different stance over here. But it's a third T20 match. I mean, you have lost 2 T20 matches. I think so there would be changes in it, and I don't know who opens up the innings. That's the main thing for me over here. I mean, you got Sarfraz Ahmed sitting up in the squad. I mean, I don't know why isn't he there? I mean, why isn't he not playing? Because
that's what I was thinking. Exactly.
And again, I'll tell you one thing, Alamdar Bhai, that would be a brave decision. I don't know what does they do. I mean, what does he say? Because I mean, it's the last T20 match, and everyone has an expectation that Pakistan would bounce back. And it would be again that situation what happened when Waqar Bhai was the coach and Sarfraz in Australia World Cup. And so Sarfraz came to open up and he performed well. And that time even I remember he was in doubt that should I go or should I not go, because that's a pressure situation. You have got Sarfraz sitting up, and especially about the
is needed right now.
About the, I would say, I mean, I would go by the bowling. I mean, especially from that. Bowling needs I would say, a genuine leg spinner for you. I mean, that's Usman Qadir. I mean, why are you carrying him up if you don't want to make him play for Pakistan? I remember he was almost eligible to play for Australia when you made him debut for Pakistan. So now he won't play for Australia anymore. So, I mean, the plus point what I've seen in him, it's that he has gradually improved himself. I know he's not a best athletic fielder for you, but he's got that height, he gets that variation, he gets that bounce what you need in the New Zealand conditions.
And specifically with the spinning,
Imad Wasim has been a trump card for Pakistan, but he hasn't been consistently performing well what Pakistan need. He has performed well with the bat, I would say, but the bowling is the real concern. I mean, he hasn't been taking regular wickets for you. So, I mean, there should be changes in the bowling, especially, I would say. Wahab Riaz, I know he's a senior campaigner. He's performed well for Pakistan, but not good in the two T20 matches.
True.
I think so. He might sit out, and you can get Hasnain over here as a youngster. Again, I would say this is the right conditions. Get the youngsters to play over here because you're not having many senior campaigners with you. Khushtil Shah in the batting, I would say he has been a strong contender.
Right.
I think so. He would obviously play this match because he has scored 16, 20, 30 runs for 20 runs for Pakistan. But it would be Abdullah Shafiq. I think so. They might drop in Abdullah Shafiq, get Iftikhar over here, Iftikhar Ahmed. Many of them, even I criticize Iftikhar Ahmed. Why is he in the Pakistan team looking at his performance? But he has performed well in the T20s against Australia. So I think so. He has an edge that he might be get back in the team. But it's your opening again, I would say. I personally want, in the two T20 last matches, I wanted Hafiz to open up because you have got an opener. He has opened up every time when Pakistan wanted.
Because you need to have a senior player who can be defensive, even to begin with.
You actually, you know what, senior campaigner, what he does, it start giving confidence to the youngster on the other side. I mean, talk, speak to him, get his nerves calmed down.
True.
Why did Haider Ali get out? You know why? Because a youngster gets in. I mean, when he goes for a biggie, I would say big six, when he goes for a boundary, that time his morale is, I think so, I would say it's 200, 300% up. I mean, you need to cool his nerves over there, that you need to speak to him that get yourself
calm
easy.
Down,
you have got
settle
many
in.
overs.
Yes.
You have got many overs. I mean.
Even come to think of it, if we look at the first match, like I said, it was more of a team effort. When Shadab Khan came in, everything was crumbling down, and he had to prove himself as that captain. And even though while he was there were a few more outs that happened, but he stood by slowly, gradually. That's something he had to do. And when he did that, Fahim Ashraf, on the contrary, also joined the bandwagon. He did the same then because he could easily understand a senior player, a captain right now, trying to defend or ensuring that they can get a proper good total. And 153 for me, even at that time, at that day, was like a very good score.
I mean, see, in the first T20 match, you remember the New Zealanders weren't the full strength what the New Zealand team is in the second T20 match they were.
True, yeah.
They had the youngsters. I mean, I know we call it in our local language, Alam ke bachon. They actually they had that quick paces. I mean, 150 clicks, 145. And the thing again, I would say the Pakistan batsmen actually they weren't aware of this kind of bounce because they were playing after a long period of gap. In the New Zealand, I mean, like you pointed out, you never had a practice match over there. They straight away came to this. I mean, they just played a practice match in between Pakistan A and between Pakistan, I would say.
True.
So I mean, they never had that experience to play against this kind of conditions. I mean, you youngsters again over here. I remember I would quote Shoaib Akhtar. You remember Shoaib Akhtar was on the YouTube channel. I was watching him, and he said that, look at the ball. I mean, where the ball is and where your face is. I mean, your body language. I mean, your face is dropping off. Yeah. Haider Ali again, I would say. I mean, he's the one who everyone watches him, everyone wants him to perform. But one thing the Pakistan management, I mean, they need to really understand that, are you making him as an opener for Pakistan or are you getting him bat as one down for Pakistan? Under 19s is a different level where he batted up the order, he was opener for Pakistan. But if you remember in the PSL, Peshawar Zalmi, where he performed for them, he batted at one down position. The thing is that the batting coach, you have got the legend batting coach with them, Yunus Khan, I think so, he's the best one who knows the game inside out. It's the Yunus Khan. Yunus Bhai needs to speak to him that you're a youngster. We need a big innings from you, just not 20, 30s. I mean, you're a youngster. What needs to go 60s, 70s, 100s for you? That's what you need from Haider Ali.
We actually lack that partnership, you may call it, because if we don't have that, and like you said, if there's a senior and a junior, like both of them together, so that would allow the team to maybe work as one. But then yet again, even on the bowling side, if we are facing the ball or the pitch remains the same eventually. Why don't we put that amount of pressure? You know what I'm trying to say as a bowler.
Psychological pressure again, I would say. I mean, see, when you go for a batting, I mean, whatever you have scored 153 or something, you need to learn from Australia again. I mean, the way they came back against India. Remember, I mean, no one expected that. I mean, the way India performed. And I mean, you just need to play with the psychological level over here. You're actually, it's again, I would say, a team unit. The fielding needs to be with the bowling side. I mean, they need to know that we need to give 100% over here. When you drop catches, it's a myth. I mean, dropping catches always loses matches for you. So you need to understand that over here. Your bowlers actually need to understand that we have got 153 on the total. Just keep in your mind that you have got 152. I mean, just save 140 runs over here. You need to know what weaknesses the New Zealand batsmen have. Even in the second T20 match, if you just watch out, Shaheen Shah Afridi, as a leading fast bowler for Pakistan, he has performed exceptionally well for Pakistan.
Right.
But I was confused. Why was he going for more short pitch deliveries when you know the batsman over there, he's hooking up, he's pulling you up.
They're professionals. You know, if their pitch for their batsmen, it's the ideal situation.
And I remember even the commentators, I mean, they were speaking when McKillum was there, and you got Fleming sitting up when they were speaking to Hafiz, and even Hafiz said that there's a spongy kind of a bounce over here, that you need to wait for the ball, you need to watch the ball and play. That's the thing what the Rizwan had to do over here. Because if you just watch Alamdar, nowadays the opener especially of any team, I would say, even if it's the league cricket going on, even if it's the international matches, the openers, they don't more focus on getting individual hundreds or individual 50s. They more focus on getting 4 overs, 50, 60, 70 runs to get that other team damaged. That's the T20 start, what the team wants from them and what the spectators want.
Right. I mean, a paced up opening, but a stable paced up opening, basically. What total do you think, for instance, if Pakistan wins the toss today and intends to bat again, major possibility, what total do you think in Napier for now would be a total that, you know, can be a defendable total as a team?
See, I mean, one thing I'll tell you that winning toss, and many of them have criticized that why is Pakistan going for batting first time, and look at your strength. I mean, your strength is bowling, not a batting over here. And Pakistan history, as I would say, chasing hasn't been that good. You know, even if it's a test match, even if it's a one-day T20, it hasn't been that good for Pakistan. Third T20 match, whatever score is, I know New Zealand might give a tough time, but I hope so because high hopes from them. But I say that Pakistan, actually, they need to at least have in their mind 180, 190 over here, because I mean that's the perfect total what you can give to the New Zealand side, because nowadays the T20 even is not safe. 220 gets chased on, 230 even gets chased on. But the best thing is that you need to have in your mind 180, 190, because even in the first T20 match, even in the second T20 match, I would say the pace for Pakistan was going on good in the batting. I mean, when Shadab Khan came in the first T20, Hafiz was brilliant in the, I would say, they actually could have gone, I mean, they could have gone to 180, 175, 180. It could have been a best total over here. But again, it's the bowling which comes back into the party for Pakistan. They need to perform well over here. The spinners, they need to come into action. Imad Wasim hasn't been taking up regular wickets. He has been attacking the ball for Pakistan as an opener, as he attacked spinner for Pakistan. He's a senior campaigner, not a youngster for Pakistan. He needs to come into party over here. Shadab Khan leading from the front. He has led Islamabad United well, the Pakistan team well. But again, it's getting wickets. I mean, you need to get wickets on the regular intervals.
Right. One more thing. Let's go to the instantaneous side of the performance of Kane Williamson and Seifert. You know, how they have managed to play a very strong innings, and you know they've kept themselves to the bat. Even though Mohammad Hafiz's performance in the last match was phenomenal, but we can't totally rely on the fact that, you know, Mohammad Hafiz individually, you know, it was too much pressure for him to bear. But if we have people like a few Hafiz versions in our team, I think so. We look forward for maybe a partnership, even with the youngsters, you know.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing, Alamdar, that's, I mean, if you just watch the T20 matches, I mean, and one thing is clear that what the ex-cricketers have been saying on that, you can't play the next T20 World Cup or the World Cup without Hafiz and Shoaib Malik. You need to have the senior campaigners in the middle order for you. I was shocked. I don't know why Shoaib Malik wasn't the part of the Pakistan team. I mean, many of them criticized that he had not performed for Pakistan, but look at his track record. I mean, he won the Lankan Premier League. I mean, he performed over there. You actually need to have 2 senior campaigners in the middle order who actually build up the innings for you, the crumbled up innings for you. Stefano, I mean, the way he played, I mean, in the first T20 match was superb. Second T20 match, he was more superb, I would say. Kane Williamson, everyone knows he's one of the coolest captains around the world. I mean, just has a smile on his face. Remember the last World Cup?
It's always about the positivity. Yes,
the last World Cup, they lost on him. Still, he was smiling up over there. So that's a positivity, I would say. But they have got a strong, I would say, batting firepower. They bat till 6th or 7th position. I mean, the bowling, I remember in the last T20 match, the bowling was a problem for them because the Trent Bolt wasn't getting swing. I mean, what he's known for. Team Southie, I mean, he was getting swing over there. He performed exceptionally well, getting 4 wickets. But it was your batting again.
Anyways, thank you very much for your great vision. And, you know, let's hope for the best for today's 3rd T20 match against Pakistan versus New Zealand. Let's see who wins. We have our fingers crossed. We hope Pakistan take the team the very best and hoping for an exciting match. Till then, see you guys in the post-match analysis. Till then, see ya.